your entrepreneurial experiences, and then we'll have a bit of time for Q&A at the end. So I think we've got this session is booked out, if I'm not mistaken, for an hour. However, sort of we have flexibility to bring that forward or as suits. So I'll probably kick off then. So again, thank you so much, Natalia, for being with us today. This is part of the Inspiring the Minds program, which is a course that the universities of Tromsø and Alicante are looking to deliver alongside some of business partners such as GeForce and a few others. And what we're looking to do is support education in the space of entrepreneurship, green skills, diversity and inclusion, and a handful of sort of high impact areas there, and bringing them all together under one roof. So we thought you would be a great fit for this to speak with us today, because Natalia is a social entrepreneur, founder and CEO of WomanUp Slovakia, which is a community of over 10,000 members connecting female entrepreneurs and startup founders, primarily, if I'm not mistaken, across Central and Eastern Europe through networking and educational events and programs. Natalia has been recognized across a whole number of features, including sort of Forbes 30 under 30 honoree, Sigma Squared Society, which is a community of leading young entrepreneurs. And also has been a speaker at a number of European events, with a key focus on sort of gender equality and empowerment through entrepreneurship. So delighted to have you with us today, and I can probably hand over there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You said it very, very well. I'm going to try to share my screen because I think I have to share the whole screen. Just bear with me for a sec. Can you see my screen now?
Yep, we can see that.
Perfect, because I can't see you, but I'll try to do my best. So hello and welcome to my workshop presentation today about creating a transformative social enterprise. One thing that is my goal today is share my passion for creating sustainable social enterprises, nonprofits, businesses, and kind of translating research and what we find that is not working into functioning entities in our societies, and kind of set up these entities to solve these issues. And I'll mainly go into our key learnings from WomanUp in our last 4 years since we started, and hopefully give you some very practical value in that. A little about me. Rory already mentioned kind of everything, but I'm originally from Slovakia, but I currently live in Oslo. So it's very nice to have a Norwegian university here. I also visited Alicante in November. So very, very beautiful. I'm a founder and CEO of WomanUp, through which I managed to get into Forbes 30 under 30. And basically our goal and what we believe in is that we want women to have successful businesses, to grow their businesses, to start businesses, and have more money in their businesses to influence the society. And I'm also part of a Sigma Squared Society, which is organization for founders under 26. So if you are, or if you know someone who is doing something amazing through entrepreneurship, please let me know. I would love to nominate them and kind of also let them join this organization. I also spoke at a few events and led workshops organized by European Parliament, mostly about entrepreneurship for youth and empowering youth, because I believe that you don't have to do at least 5 years of consulting before you can do something impactful. And I love to work with conferences and entrepreneurs. So kind of choosing speakers, topics, formats, that's something I love to do. And then work with entrepreneurs to create something meaningful. Yeah, so let's move on to WomanUp and what we do, a little background. So you maybe have an idea. The photo on the left is one of our first workshops. You can still see the COVID masks. 4 years ago, it was about 10 people there. This project was very passion driven from the beginning. I was always interested in entrepreneurship. I did a lot of internships, met a lot of people already in high school. And when I was 18, finishing high school, I worked for an influencer as her assistant. And through her, I started to get the background of women in business and the amazing things they do. And I realized they don't really talk about it in public spaces openly, how they navigate different parts of female life and money, and just very honest, genuine conversations about these topics. So I asked her if I can invite her for a discussion. And we shared it on her social media. And basically, the first workshop was booked out in a few minutes. And that's when we realized, okay, women are interested in these topics and they're lacking support and spaces. So we started to work on it, build a team. And right now we have an online following of over 10,000 women. We organize the biggest awards for female entrepreneurs in the country, Slovakia. And only last year, we had over 100 women in our accelerator program, which takes already active female entrepreneurs and helps them optimize their business. And we also hold monthly events, networking events, where we had almost all the time over 100 attendees, which is probably one of the biggest events of its kind in Slovakia. That is probably it for the background. But now let's move on to the key learnings. And it was actually very nice to do this presentation, to also do it for myself, to know. I named this presentation a presentation I will go through when I start a new project, just to do everything faster and don't do so many mistakes. But basically, the first learning is understand the target audience and you will grow 10 times faster. When we started WomanUp, we worked with women and our focus was helping them in self-development, which is very broad, as you can imagine. Women have a lot of interests and there's so much you can do. And we really tried to cater to every single woman. This was at that time very simple and obvious for us, but then we realized, okay, we're more passionate about the entrepreneurship side, but we were so scared because that cuts your target audience by maybe like a lot. I don't even want to guess the percentage. But the consequence of this was that we grew way faster, and our events were more popular. The partners we had way more partners because they kind of knew what we are doing. We knew what we were doing, and it was way easier for us to facilitate everything. I also prepared questions that maybe you can try to answer yourself if you're starting a project or having a project and want to be clear on who your target audience is, who you serve, and also how you want to serve them. So what is the goal we're trying to accomplish? As I mentioned, for us, for example, is that we want to help women start and grow their businesses so they can hold more wealth in the society, and that way also influence the society itself. The second one is that you don't have to do everything and understand your vision, especially in nonprofit sector or social entrepreneurship. You kind of really want to help and do good things. And when you see how many people do social entrepreneurship, it's not that much compared to traditional business. And then people start approaching you and they're like, yeah, maybe you should try doing this. You should maybe go into this sector. I remember we had people approaching us to do more IT stuff, IT education for women, like maternity leave courses, and just so many things. And we always wanted to do everything because we really want to support women. But at a certain point, it just became unbearable. So we decided that we're going to do a little document where we say, okay, this is what we do. And then we write all the other ideas. And whenever someone else approaches us, when they want to start a project and they don't know, or they're very inspired by our project and would like to do something similar, we let them know. We say, okay, this is what the society is missing right now. You can just take it. We don't have to have everything. And then the guiding question is, what do we leave for others to solve? And also acknowledging that it's also okay to leave some stuff for others to solve, and we don't have to solve everything. Authenticity and clarity is my favorite topic also when I talk to entrepreneurs, because authenticity, you hear it everywhere. Be authentic, communicate authentically, but no one really says what it means. And maybe it means something a little different for every single person. But what authenticity means for me is that the brand, the organization, the entity should be authentic to itself, meaning the brand doesn't necessarily have to be like me. For example, the visuals, the communication style, it doesn't have to be the way I am completely. But we create kind of a persona for the organization, and the way we talk, the way we present ourselves, the colors we use, the people we work with. How we do this is that we pick 3 words that represent the brand. For us, it's professional, trendy, and aesthetic. And whenever we are confused about anything we're dealing with, we go back to these words and we say, okay, does this feel authentic to us, to these 3 words? Is this something that we as an organization do, or the way we communicate? And if not, then we try to adjust. So I would suggest that picking 3 words that you just keep on top of your company or organization notion is perfect, and it helps so much. Yeah, and now I would like to move to best practice. Also, if you have any questions, just shoot. I can't see anyone. I just see my screen.
Yes. I had one quick question just on that last point of the 3 words, which I really like as a concept. Is that something that you have alongside something like a mission statement or a company vision, or is that in place of?
I would say it's good to have both, because the vision is more about the guiding lights of what you do and what you don't do. But the 3 words are more about the way you communicate and the way you brand yourself, especially when we're talking about nonprofits. I feel like they sometimes neglect them. We're going to get into that. They neglect the way they present themselves, and they are very focused on what they do, but not the way they are communicating it. And it's such a big part of doing the whole thing. So I'd say definitely both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, now maybe some just key pointers and learnings we had that were just tough, and we made some mistakes, and I would hope none of you have to go through it. Is that consistency over perfection? A lot of people are trying to be perfect and do stuff on a very high level. However, consistency is something that I believe is valued more also at the end by the people you serve, and just showing up consistently makes you better than the majority that is just striving for perfection. So whenever you are in the loop of trying to achieve perfection, I would just say, remind yourself that you're actually serving the community by being consistent and showing up, and that is enough, really. We can try to do both, of course, and the quality is also important, but consistency is sometimes very lacked in what we see in other organizations, and what we also kind of sometimes did when we didn't have the perfect lineup. Sometimes we said, okay, we're going to skip this month of events. However, yeah, the feedback from our community was staying consistent and just showing up is very important. Details matter. this was one of the things we used to really grow our community. We didn't use almost any funding for advertising, and compared to other organizations, the following we have, the reach we have, the media that covered us was just really, really a lot. And I believe it was because we cared about the details. When you also look at the pictures behind, all our events look a certain way. For our target audience, we aimed at creating a beautiful space you want to take pictures in and then share it with your own personal community, either on your social media or chat or whatever, just with your friends. And these little details really mattered. We also, one of my favorite stories we had was webinars we were hosting with international experts, professors from all over the world. We had a professor from Stanford, Oxford, just people that, just charge a lot of money, and authors. And it was just our budget was zero when we approached them. And what we did is that we create kind of like a picture where we put our pictures, their pictures, and it was like almost a presentation of why we want them to speak to our community. And even though not all of them answered, it was really good turnout, and we brought people to Slovakia that were never there, and even bigger companies and an organization never managed to bring them to Slovakia. So that is something I'd like to highlight. Sometimes the little details make all the difference. So if you have someone in the team that loves details, just let them do the thing. Learn from the best if possible. This was probably the fastest way we got to where we are. We try to learn from not only other organizations as we are, we learn from companies when it comes to the optimization of the team. We learn from companies with big marketing teams about how to optimize the marketing. We try to approach consultants to help us, speakers to help us, and learning from the best and having kind of the benchmark for ourselves that we really want to show up as the best. And the fact that we're small doesn't make us worse, or we don't have to come into the work with the assumption we have to do worse just because we don't have huge budgets, was really, really helpful. And everything we managed to do, for example, like all the branding stuff, it was all from partners, just because we approached them, and most of the others didn't even try to because they thought it was impossible. So just learn from the best and try your best. And there are a lot of really good people trying to help out. So just use it and connect. My favorite point is about listening and assuming. So when it comes to a lot of people, consultants, mentors, they always told us, listen to what people want, listen to your target audience. Of course, that's so important. And every year we conduct a lot of interviews, and we talk to our community members a lot. But what helped us a lot was also assuming and just going with our own personal assumptions. When we started WomanUp in Slovakia, it was quite something new, because the events that used to be there were either corporate, or you would go for workshops in some office room with one blackboard, and you would just listen to the presentation of the speaker. And we wanted to create an experience. We started doing events in unconventional venues. We tried new formats. And when we asked our target audience, they said it's not important. However, when we delivered, it turned out that it was actually very important. And just trying out your assumptions without just killing them right away is actually very helpful. And it's also important to say that you are the visionary of the whole project. So it's good to try out your just dreams. Don't fix what works. A lot of people, companies, brands, specifically when it comes to branding, they always are rebranding, trying to create new, better visuals, new logo, just because they get bored. But most of the people that you work for, your community, your customers, they don't interact with your logo as much as you do. And sometimes if things work, it's better to just keep it the way it is and focus maybe on other areas and not just always fixing the good stuff, even though the tendency there is quite huge. And of course, we also rebranded a few times, but for the next few years, I would definitely not do so and not invest so much into it. And lastly, right, collaborations are everything. Collaborating with amazing people is what creates really, really big and interesting projects. And if you're questioning if collaborations are the way, 100%. From partners to speakers, team members, volunteers, collaborations are everything that will help you grow tenfold. Like when we started, we immediately had quite a big team of volunteers. And even though it's scary and sometimes it gets out of control, because when you work with people, you can't control them fully, it was the best decision we have made. So I would definitely dedicate a lot of time and resources and effort to finding the right collaborations that will help you speed the process up. Yeah, I think I was way faster than I was supposed to, but I would love to have some conversation and maybe Q&A and see what you're doing. And the last message I wanted to say that the world needs more social enterprises, and if you're trying, that is more than enough. And if you maybe have an idea you want to pursue, it's definitely worth it. And the feeling it gives you as a person to have an influence in a positive way is just crazy. And even though it's hard at the beginning, it's definitely worth it once it start growing quite a bit. Yeah, and this is my contact info. If you want to connect with me or with WomanUp, please don't hesitate and just shoot me a message. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, we can just go into it.
Thank you so much, Natalia. That was super interesting to hear your experiences. I might quickly start off because there's one question which I had, which is tied into your last point there on needing more social enterprises, supporting social entrepreneurship. And I guess my question is around sort of how you settled on that as, I suppose, a bit of a business model. Kind of what made you decide that social entrepreneurship was the right way to do it? What were the challenges of sort of like, I guess, monetizing what you're doing, but also keeping purpose at the core? Like, how did you find that balance?
Yeah, I think it's a really hard question, actually. I think it's kind of like feeding your soul, I would say. And I do believe that actually people that work solely for money, they kind of had to kill some parts of themselves or compensate in other ways. So there's nothing better for you as a person, especially if you love to create stuff, to do something that also supports a bigger purpose. And you just wake up in the morning and you're like, I know why I'm doing this. And you don't have to have existential crisis, really. You just know that what you're doing is aligned with you fully. And also a very interesting thing I didn't know before I started, but the people you work with is just really, really amazing. The interactions you're having, mostly you attract people who also want to have a positive impact and do it with passion. And that's a very nice life to live, actually.
Okay, love that. Thank you. Tamara, I think your hand was up first.
Actually, I have several questions, but maybe I can start with one a bit related about how you are motivate people. Because I can see you already attracted more women to your organization. And as you said, you started sometime around Corona, so 3-4 years ago. So how you succeed to get this momentum?
Yeah, also a very good question. Thank you. I would say I also wanted to mention it, and that is, of course, it depends on the project you're doing. But we are working with public, And what I always say is that communicating your vision is equally as important as what you're doing. And what I see quite a lot is that you have a founder of a nonprofit and they're very, very passionate about their cause. Similarly with professors, for example, they love their research, they're very passionate about it. But there's also the other side of communicating it to the public and just making other people passionate about it. And it's completely fine if you don't have it, but acknowledging that it's equally as important. There are so many people out there who love communication and working with social media and marketing, and just letting them join you is very helpful. So we treated that the communication and marketing part equally as important from the beginning, and that helped us so much, because if you want to build a community, you have to make the people your part of your marketing, right? So right now they share our vision instead of us, and that is the best goal.
Maybe I can just throw one very small question regarding your team. How many person working with you?
We're 3 full-time right now, and then we have freelancers that work with us.
Ellen, do you want to jump in?
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I wanted to congratulate Natalia for the excellent presentation. Really to the point, very powerful messages indeed, showing that communication does matter. And I'm definitely impressed by how soon you started with your vision, following the path of this first collaboration of yours with an influencer. You were very mature to be inspired, so being so young, no? So this is really, really wonderful. And the path that you have walked in just this few years. And I think, this is also a technical question. It was very clear, and I think that you actually embodied everything that you told us during your talk today, because your presentation had all the 3 mottos of your company, right? So it was catchy, it was attractive, it was, the messages were really to the point. I really like it. So I would like to know if we could have it, just to be inspired by you and your community. Also, some of the messages looked sort of simple, but I think it's so powerful when you encourage the community to be bold and to trust yourselves, or to trust ourselves, especially in a mostly female community where we are questioned about virtually everything we do, like and I'm positive I can say this confidently, and the male colleagues will not be mad about me. They know me already, I hope, most of them, about me saying that we question ourselves even more. No, and in a sense, I also feel the pressure of the community. So you telling us is trust your vision, trust your assumptions that this could work, even when you don't have actual data, but you just have this gut feeling that how about we do the same but better? Of course they say they are going to participate in these events regardless of where you organize it or the format of the event, but then you walk the walk, you take the extra step to try to make it better, and I really loved it. So more than a question, is compliment to your intervention. I would like to encourage you to continue.
Really appreciate it. And it's also really nice, actually, because we work only with women, right? And when we have these huge events and we have male speakers, so we do work with male speakers, they say many times it's the first time they're talking to just a fully female group, and they say like it's way harder. They have respect, and they cannot like use the male body jokes because it's not funny to women. So they're also kind of a little intimidated, and it's very nice to see.
A learning exercise for
absolutely.
Excellent. And I will definitely reach out for future interactions with you and the community. Thank you so much, Natalia.
Antonio?
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for. I want to congratulate you for this, for the meeting that you show us. I'm a lecturer of entrepreneurs, basically not we say official Erasmus people that enroll in the subject of business creation or entrepreneur, whatever it is. And I feel that when it comes to create team workings, female work harder than male. So I think it's good assuming that perhaps this group of people, female group of people, will follow some entrepreneur issues. But my questions for today is in when you talk about these fantastic activities in terms of financial, for instance, when it comes to put in the shoes of the students, that when I say, well, you need to create a business idea, you can follow whatever idea you feel more identified or whatever it is. I realized in the last years that students focus too much in revenues, profits, something that they are very normal in an app like startups. No? So this is a contradiction when you say to the students that social equality, sustainability, or whatever sustainable goals are really important in terms of the business idea. But the students decide not to follow this statement because they do believe that they don't get good revenues or profits. So could you give me an advice for letting them the next month for them when I start this creation? What I do for in terms of a message for my students?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, it's also a shame, I feel like, that people push so much into the profit area right away, because especially as a young person, you have so many advantages. I do believe that we managed to build this, and right now we are fully sustainable. We don't really finance ourselves through grants, so it's really sustainable, and we don't need to. And it was just because we were students and we were asking people to do stuff for us because we were, cute students that wanted to change the world, and it just works perfectly. But also, when I am part of Sigma, and basically when we are there, it's only people that are focusing on some kind of sustainable element, and there is so much money in it, in sustainable entrepreneurship, and everything is changing. And the biggest challenges we are facing are sustainability challenges, and someone has to solve them, and the solutions are not ready. So I believe that there's just so much opportunity, and seeing the opportunity in sustainable solutions could be really beneficial, because like anyone can start a new bank, right? But there are not that many sustainable banking solutions. So seeing it more as okay, maybe look into this as something that could be interesting, or where you can find a lot of profit. I have a friend, and they're installing heat pumps all over Austria. And it's such a good business for them. They have so much funding from government, and no one was doing it. So yeah, it doesn't mean that if it's sustainable, there's no profit involved. It can actually be the other way around. I do believe so.
No, thank you very much, Natalia.
Thank you.
Natalia, one question I actually had was, I guess you've been doing this for several years now. You're still sort of studying the BI Business School. How has it been managing sort of the study and work side of things? So sort of A, how have you managed that? And then I guess B, have you got specific support from the academic institutions you've been part of, or is it all being done independently?
Yeah. I am doing my master's now, and after I finished my bachelor's, I was actually considering not continuing my education, and I'm studying entrepreneurship and innovation. And I have to say that I don't think I would have as much as I do right now from my studies if I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, because it's just so connected, and I don't feel like you really understand the challenges until you really are in the middle of them. And I can really see with my classmates, for example, that it's very hard to learn about entrepreneurship without actually doing it. And they still, most of them are going into consulting or traditional jobs, which is just such a shame. So the support has been amazing, and especially I just really do love the academic world. Even though a lot of people that are doing entrepreneurship, they always ask like, why would you do that? And I'm just fascinated. There's just so much in there, and when you're doing entrepreneurship, you're in a constant crisis, so you can't really go beyond that. You're just solving issues and the current problems. But when you're looking into the academia, there's just so much beyond that, and understanding the mechanisms of how stuff work. But I guess it's just the geek part in me that is just very, very fascinated by that. And I love talking to professors. It's just you are very, very smart people, and just having that support and having those questions, and they're always very excited to answer my questions, because I guess most students, they don't have their projects. So it has been very, very beneficial for me. But also without the team, it would not be possible. So while I'm studying, I do have a team that's full-time dedicated to the operational side. And it's a nice balance. It's a nice balance, but also challenging at times, right? That when we have to do the really long papers.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And I think one of the other things which I found quite interesting when sort of in the build up to this session as well, was the fact that you're based in Norway at the moment for your studies and stuff, but the focus of your work is currently Central Eastern Europe. Is that just because that's where you're from, you could see the immediate impact? Is there intention to grow that out and build on that into broader areas, or just to consolidate within Central and Eastern?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it was actually one of the mistakes I made, and I wasn't thinking about it. Now I would advise people to do it the other way, and not really try to not be tied to a country. It's very hard. It's even harder to grow a nonprofit internationally than it is a company. Just the regulations you have everywhere. It's just really, really, really intense. But at that point, it wasn't a business decision. It was more a decision of like, I want to do something, and this is where I can do it, where I can get the support. But yes, I would love to do something more international, and it's tough to be away from the community. I think that's what I'm missing the most. We are having these amazing events, and I only see it on social media, and I'm just so far. So the next project will definitely be more international, so that I can participate more.
Okay, very cool. We had one question in the chat, which I've just seen, which was how the business model of social enterprise works. So I suppose if you have any reflections on that, that would be great. Or you could sort of give a bit of insight on how your business model works, how you guys manage it specifically.
Yeah, I think for me, when I say social enterprise, it is that you're investing or your profits partially, but also the whole kind of efforts of the company are doing something good for the society. But there are different models. For example, we are a nonprofit, which means we don't generate profit, and everything we earn, of course, we do pay the employees, we pay ourselves, but we don't generate profit. There was just a decision, again, a sole decision, where I didn't want to treat the entity as a business, because then when you generate profit, there's many times a trade-off in the particular thing we do. But there are a lot of models where you can fully focus on just making impact. As I said, the heat pumps, for example, just by the fact that you sell a lot, you earn a lot of money and you make a lot of impact. So I guess it's case by case, really. But I guess the vision and the social or environmental impact should be really the heart of the company. And that for me means having a social enterprise.
Perfect. That's really helpful. I would just double check. Are there any other questions from the floor? Tamara, I see your hand go up, and if anyone else has any, please do either pop them in the chat or put your hands up, and we can get them coming as well. So Tamara?
Actually, it's not a question. It's like a big thank you for you, Natalia, and for you, Rory, because it's you are in Oslo, I'm in Tromsø, so in the same country, but this is the first time to meet. So I really would like to thank you, Rory, just to introduce us to Natalia. And the second point, do you think is it okay for you to contact you and have a meeting with you next week or so?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep, because I think, it's just now it's just a lecture, but I think you have a very good and deep experience, and your experience is coming from this end, the student end, the people who are really get benefit. And I think we are, Rory, if you agree with me, you and Eileen and Antonio, we are somehow struggling with this, struggling with the communication, try to get more people involved, and I think you have this solution. So I really hope if you can give us like 1 hour from your time next week or so, just to discuss in more detail, just to try to put introduce you to the project in detail, and then try to get your thoughts, what we can fix, how we can contribute more to our society.
Absolutely. No, I would love that. I love that. It's I just love sharing good stuff with the world. Yeah. So just shoot me a message, and I would love to support. I also love when students. It's also very nice to talk to high school students. That's even nicer because it's hard to find someone that's more relatable. But I feel like for me, I just it doesn't matter if it's a podcast or if it's a company. It's just talking to them and going through the idea with someone who went through the same thing is just so valuable. And I really want young people to do more. I really say like my life motto is that you don't have to do 5 years of consulting until you start your own project. And I believe that already in high school it's possible, and university even more. You have so much time and still some life energy left. So
Yes,
I would love
I completely agree. Yes, super.
Brilliant. So we'll just stop there for a second. Are there any questions from anyone else? And if not, we can probably look to wrap the session up there. Just again, to reiterate, Natalia, it's been a really great session. So many useful insights there. And I've just scribbled down a long old page of notes from your talk. So useful for me personally as well. As Tamara mentioned, it would be great to sort of have a little follow-up chat. So we can message you about that. But yeah, a massive thank you to you, to everyone who joined the call today. And hopefully this can help people sort of think about social entrepreneurship as a possible route forwards. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. It was
Thanks,
really nice to be here. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day too.
Bye bye. Thank you.